Hey, what's up you guys? Today I'm doing my November TBR for 2021, and in November I'm taking part in 2 readathons. I don't normally do readathons that often, but Trick or Treatathon is coming to an end and I thought, you know what, I might as well. I mean, I always take part in Digithon, which is one that I'm doing, but I'm also taking part in Pokemon-athon, which is hosted by Jane from the Bookaholic. And Digithon is all about reading Indigenous literature by Indigenous authors, and it's hosted by Michelle and Brody. I'll have both people's information down below, and I also have the Pokemon-athon down below. That is kind of your classic readathon where there's like prompts and stuff. I am not going to go into all the information for that because there's quite a lot of it, but I will have Jane's video linked down below, and I'll talk about like what prompt is for each book I'm reading, but I won't go into like all the actual proper information, obviously. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and please subscribe. It's definitely an ambitious TBR. I don't think realistically I'll be able to read all of these, but I'll give it a bit of my best shot, and I guess let's find out what I'm reading. So for Pokemon-athon, I am on the water team. I have always chose the water starter in Pokemon every single game. I love the colour blue and fish and sea life and water itself and etc, etc. So I thought obviously going to be on the water team, and there is 3 team prompts, but you can use all 3 prompts for one book, which is what I'm doing. So the team prompts are to read a book that has the colour blue on the cover, a word related to water in the title, or it's set around water. And I am reading The Fisherman of the Inland Sea by Ursula K. Le Guin, and as you can see on the cover, it is blue. It is about fishermen of the inland sea, so the word sea, and I mean obviously it's going to be related to the sea there and set around the sea if it's about fishermen. But yeah, this is a short story collection, and I, as you might know if you've been around for a while, have a really strange relationship with Ursula K. Le Guin. In 2020, she was one of my favourite authors, and then this year, everything I've read by her has been like 2 or 3 stars, so she's really fell down. But this is the last book by her on my physical TBR that I own, and to be honest, I don't always even love short story collections, so it's maybe not the best one, but it's on my physical TBR, it's just sitting there, so I might as well give it a chance. So for the rock gym prompt for Pokemon-athon, you were to read a book involving music, and I will be reading Ancestor-approved Intertribal Stories for Kids, which is by a whole bunch of different authors. It is a collection of short stories again. I know, I just said I don't like them, but this one is a middle grade, and I don't ever read middle grade. I think the only middle grade I've ever really read is Percy Jackson, if that counts. I don't know if that counts as middle grade or YA. I'd probably say YA, but I also see it as middle grade. Anyway, I don't really read middle grade, but Michelle gave this a really good review, and I think it sounds really interesting, and the description says that in a hall filled with Indigenous families, they're celebrating music and food, music, there we go, there's a relation, and telling different stories, and there's going to be a bunch of different stories related to Native American and Native Canadian people's lives, I guess, and it's middle grade, so it should be quite easy to read, and I thought, I don't really read middle grade, but it sounds interesting. So the prompt for the grass gym is to read a light book, and you can interpret this a few different ways, and my interpretation is that I am reading another middle grade book. I know, who am I? Because it'll be a bit of a lighter read than the adult fiction I'm normally used to. So I'm reading Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, who is a very popular Native American author who I have never read anything by, but I definitely have heard a lot about, and I've heard really good things. So it'll be interesting to start off with a middle grade, which I don't think she's normally known for. And Race to the Sun, I think, is about these kids whose father disappears and they have to go on a rescue mission, and along the way they encounter a bunch of different mythological and legendary monsters and creatures and beings from Native American folklore, I believe, and I think it sounds quite fun. It's a middle grade obviously, so it'll be quite easy, and it's also published under the Rick Riordan Presents, publishing line, I don't know what you call it, but yeah, I just think it sounds cool, and obviously I've heard a lot about Rebecca Roanhorse, so I thought let's give it a shot, and hopefully this is really good. So for the fighting gym, the prompt is to read a book by a debut author, and I'm reading Winter Counts by David Hiska Wambley Wyden, and I have already tried to explain what this is, but I butchered it, so I'm just going to read the little tiny Goodreads blurb. And it says, a groundbreaking thriller about a vigilante on a Native American reservation who embarks on a dangerous mission to track down the source of a heroin influx. I think that sounds quite good, and again, like my last 2 recommendations came from Michelle on her, I think it was her best books of 2020 list. She had all 3 of these books on there, I think it was that video, and this one just sounds really good, and she had a lot of good things to say about it, so again, that's why I'm reading it. I really trust Michelle's recommendations. I think that she is an amazing butcherer, and she's also my friend, obviously, so I think that if she likes it, I'm definitely going to like it. So I'll have that video linked down below as well if I can find, it's definitely that one I'm talking about. But yeah, anyway, definitely check out Michelle's channel. And those are the 3 books that I will be reading for indigathon. The water gym prompt is to continue on with a series, and for this I'm going to be reading Beneath the Sugar Sky by Seanan McGuire. This is the 3rd book in the Wayward Children's series, and I read books 1 and 2 back in September, I think, and I really enjoyed them actually. And I said I was going to make a video all about them once I had caught up with the whole series, and then I just never read any for like a month and a half. So I'm going to finally continue on next month. The Wayward Children's series is a bunch of different stories that all interconnect. Like they're all short novellas that interconnect, and they're about these children who go to magical fantasy worlds. Think of, you know, Alice from Alice in Wonderland, or the kids in Peter Pan go to Neverland, that type of thing. And then they come back to the real world and they're trying to like get their lives back together, and they all go to this kind of boarding school type place where they can learn to cope with what happened to them and be with people who the same things also happen to, if that makes sense. So yeah, don't actually know what this 3rd book specifically is about, but the last 2 books were quite fun, so hopefully I like it. For the Ghost Gym, the prompt is to read a book that features supernatural elements, and for this I'm reading 9th House by Leigh Bardugo. I believe this has supernatural elements to it. I hope I'm not wrong, but anyway, this was my most anticipated book of 2019 that 2 years later I've still never read because I'm just useless. But yeah, I was so excited for 9th House, and then everyone loved it, and then I went to go to the library to get it, and the library copy like went missing, like someone stole it, and I just never bought it for ages, and I finally got it for Christmas at the end of 2020, and I've just never picked up. So I'm going to finally read it. I'm sure you all know what 9th House is about, but if you don't, I believe it's about this girl who is given free entry to one of the world's most exclusive universities, and when she gets there she has to like investigate these like secret societies that are going on within the university, and some spooky stuff happens, and it's dark academia vibes, which everyone loves. Although I feel like dark academia has kind of fell off. I feel like people aren't talking about it as much as they used to. But yeah, I hope that is good. I really do, because my expectations are so high because I've hyped up so much in my head, because it's literally been like 2 years since I wanted to read it, like over 2 years probably actually now, and then I just haven't, and now I'm like scared that after all this wait it's not even going to be good. But I'm sure I'll love it. Most people do love it, so fingers crossed that I also love it. For the Steel Gym, you are to read a book by an author that you love, and I am reading Pale Fire by Vladimir Nabokov. Nabokov wrote Lolita, which is one of my favourite books, and I actually just recently, as in yesterday, finished My Dark Vanessa. And My Dark Vanessa, she speaks about Lolita quite a lot in it, but she also speaks about Pale Fire, and she made it sound so much more complicated than I was expecting. So it is about this poet who dies, and his last ever poem is like analysed and annotated by his editor, and I think like the editor kind of goes insane and their stories like connected in some way. But in Pale Fire, no. In My Dark Vanessa, they actually spoke about it, and they were like, oh, it's like a metaphor for this and blah 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 blah, and you have to like read like different parts. I don't know, it sounds really complicated. I don't know what to expect at all. I hope I love it. I really, really hope I love it, because I haven't read anything else by Nabokov apart from a couple short stories. So I don't know what to expect at all. But yeah, I love Lolita, and I do trust him. Like, he is very talented, but I'm actually just scared of this book because it sounds really complicated. And, you know, I don't know if I'm in the mood for a book that's going to make my head hurt, but we can only give it a try, and then hopefully it lives up to Lolita. So for the Ice Gym, you're to read a book that has slipped your mind, and for this I'm reading The Vegetarian by Han Kang. This is a Chinese author, and I have owned this book for ages, and then every single time I think about reading it, I look up what it's about and I just don't get it, and then I just never read it. So I decided that, you know, this month I'm going to finally read it. It's quite short as well, and yeah, every time I read the synopsis I'm just like, I don't get it, like what is this about? But the basic synopsis that I've just reminded myself again is it's about this woman who's having these like really bloody, violent visions, and she decides to stop eating meat to see if that will like cure them. And in China, according to the synopsis, you know, she starts to like get really looked down upon, and people think she's crazy for like not eating meat. And then somehow it escalates to there being like scandal, abuse, total metamorphosis of both mind and body. Like, I don't know how it's going to escalate to this level. I'm assuming it's all about like her mental health, like, and you know, the reason that she was having these bloody violent visions in the first place. I don't know what to expect, but I'm doing this as a buddy read with Shannon from 155 Books, so that'll be fun. I'll have her channel linked down below as well, and I'm looking forward to finally reading this and just understanding like what this book actually is about, because It sounds crazy, to be honest. I don't know what to expect. I think it's going to be really good, but yeah, it sounds really crazy. And then finally, for the electric gym prompt, you can listen to an audiobook or read an ebook, and I will be reading In an Absent Dream by Shauna Maguire, which is the 4th book in the Wayward Children series, because, like I said, I just kind of want to get through a series so I can then make a video talking about it. I hope this one's going to be good. Again, no idea what this 4th book individually is about, but I've already described what the series is about, so I'm sure you don't need me to do it again. But yeah, hopefully that I will really enjoy the 3rd book and just want to jump straight into the 4th book. And then I think there's a 5th book currently out. I don't know if the 6th one is. If you go on Goodreads onto like the series page for the series, it says there's like 12 books planned or something like that, which, I mean, good for her, get your coin, but I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, hopefully I like the series enough to continue. So those are all the books that I plan to read in November. I also really wanted to read The Testaments by Margaret Atwood, but I didn't really get it to fit into this TBR at all. But to be honest, my TBRs are never like set in stone, to be honest. Like, I make them and then I'm like, okay, if I want to deviate a bit, it doesn't really matter. So we'll see how it goes. I do think I will end up reading The Testaments instead of something. I don't know what's going to get cut. I actually feel like it's going to be 9th House again. That'll be so bad if I don't read 9th House, because I actually do want to. But for some reason I'm just scared. I don't know. Anyway, if you want to find out what I do read, hit subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. I don't know if I'm going to be making vlogs in November. I've been vlogging like all of October and I do enjoy it, but it then means that I just don't really have the energy to make like sit down type videos. So we'll see. There's content coming anyway, so hit subscribe and I will see you in my next video.